Good morning, you guys. Genesis 40 this morning is where we are going. So Joseph has been in prison for something that he did not do, and he has no new dream, no vision, no direct word from God since Genesis 37, okay? I want you to see, though, in all of this, that God has not been absent. Genesis 39 showed us Yahweh was actively with him in the Potiphar's house and in the prison. And what Joseph has is not a new revelation. The thing about Joseph is that he never lost the presence of God, okay? He is about to interpret two dreams in all of this for two men, and one of those interpretations is going to come true exactly how he says it. The man that Joseph asked to remember him is going to forget him completely for 2 more years. So Genesis 40 is the chapter where Joseph does everything right and still gets left behind. And this chapter, I feel like, is going to show you exactly what God is doing in the wait. Good morning to all of you guys as you're coming in. Thank you for bearing with me with my delay. Technology was just not cooperating with me this morning. And so thank you guys for being so gracious with me as I got that navigated to be with you all this morning. So how are you? As we start out every morning, I want to know what it is that you're praying that God moves through your life today. I'm going to get settled as you guys do that, but I would love to know what you are praying for God to move through in your life. It can be one simple comment, just one word, because He knows all the details. As I do that, can you guys also tell me, I have a new setup. As you potentially can see, I'm out of breath. I have a new setup. How does my audio sound? Can you guys hear the music at all? I know I always get mixed responses from you. But how does the audio sound? How does the camera look? Can you guys see me okay? And can you hear me okay? Okay, it looks fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Music is low, but everything else is good. Okay. Carolyn, it's blurry for you. Is it blurry for you today? You're usually the one that will tell me how everything is. And so I turned up the music a little bit. Can you guys, it's fine now and no blur. Okay. I was going to set up my other phone, and it's not charged. That's how my morning's going. So the comments are a little bit far from me, so bear with me if I read anything incorrectly. This light I have, I feel like is just like a tiny bit bright, and it's like right there, and the camera's right there, and the comments are right there. So there's it's like a full production now. But I'm blessed that I still get to use my camera even though I'm not doing photography anymore. So good morning as you guys are coming in. The question that I had for you is, what is the one thing right now, the season that you're in, that you are praying that God moves through in your life? It could be your finances, your business, your marriage, your mental health, your faith. What does that look like for you as you guys are coming in this morning? Good morning to all of you guys. Good morning, Joy, Dixie Ray, daughter of the King. Good morning to all of those of you that have said good morning, and I didn't get a chance to say that. But I want to see what you guys are praying over, because before we start the study, I'm going to go in and cover you with prayer. And I know that God knows all the details. So something simple. You don't have to go in depth. I know that He sees these comments. He knows the struggles that we have on our hearts. Okay, and where 2 or more are gathered, right there He is. So, good morning. I want to know what you're waiting on. Okay, specifically, the thing that you're waiting on God to move through. And then we're going to cover that in prayer before we start our study. So good morning. If you guys are also new, welcome. I'd love to see who's new here in the chat. I love seeing who's in the room with us. So, you have said yes to something that God called you to, right? That's what we've been in this chapter, in these last couple chapters in Genesis. Kind of the theme of that, right? You left something that was potentially comfortable, though, to build something that felt like it was supposed to matter. You've been praying over your business, over your family, over your kids, over your work, the people that you're serving, keeping your home running, right? Trying to hear God in the middle of all of it, and you have not quit. And there's potentially a person that you're connected to, or I should potentially say were connected to, who you genuinely believed could have changed something from you. Changed something for you. Someone who had access to something maybe that you didn't have. Maybe that's somebody that was in a room that maybe you haven't stepped into yet. Somebody who said that they would mention your name, pass your information along, make an introduction, maybe refer a client. Say something that opens the door. And they didn't. Okay, not because they meant to harm you. They just moved on with their own life and left in the same, you got left in the same place that you were just in, that you were already in. Sorry, you guys. Okay, you're still faithful. You're still working. You're still praying to God. And the thing that you were counting on didn't materialize because a human being forgot about you. Okay, that's exactly where Joseph is this morning. We're in Genesis 40, and it's going to show you something specific about what God does when people forget you. Not what God might do, what he actually does. So that is where we're going today. Good morning as you guys are coming in. My name is Vanessa. For those of you that are new, I'd love to know your names. Who do we have in the chat? I tend to see the usernames, and I'll call you guys out sometimes, but I love to try to call you by your name. I usually go after the live and look back at the names, especially Hype King, your name is Mike. Can I call you Mike? I always call you Hype King, but I want to call you Mike, if that's okay. Especially those of you guys that have been on here for a really long time. Shirley, I love that. Thank you guys. Thank you for putting that in. Mary, I love seeing your guys' names. Okay, so this is a daily Bible study, and you'll see at the top it says for faith-driven women in business, but all are welcome here, okay? We are going through Genesis right now. I have gone sequentially. So if you guys look at the bottom of your screen, or even potentially, you'll see this little button up at the top. So see that button and then go down to the bottom left corner of your screen. If you click on that button at the bottom left corner, it's a little yellow square, little yellow bubble, whatever you want to call it. If you'd like the replays, send me a DM. Okay? Actually, there is an option, I think, that says replays. I can't remember if I put that in last night. If it's not there, just comment replay and I'll send it to you. Okay? I thought I put it in last night, but maybe I didn't. Okay? What we do here in this study is we look at what Hebrew says, what the text says in Hebrew, actually, how it was intended in the original text. And we draw a line to your life and your business right now. We don't skip the hard parts, right? We take the text as is. So if you're new here, welcome. This has been a beautiful community that we've built, and I am so blessed to have you all with me. Okay? And if there is someone that you know who needs to be in this room today, then I encourage you to share this live. Okay? So quick question before we pray. When you think of the story of Joseph, what part do you know best? Is it the coat? Is it the dream? The pit? Or do you even know the full arc? Like, have you read it all the way through? There's no wrong answer. I'm just curious. I love to see how you guys all come in with different levels of discernment, different knowledge of scripture, all across the board. Some of you are so well versed and you help me along as well. And some of you, this is the first time you're hearing it, and that's okay. I just want to know where you guys are starting, because it helps me to explain. If I see more people in the room need more of an explanation, I will go there. Okay? So that is where we're at today. We're going to be in Genesis 40. Here in a little bit, we are going to, before we start our study, I'm going to cover you with prayer, and then we're going to get started. So continue to drop in the comments what you are praying that God will move for in your life. Maybe it's something you've been praying for years. Maybe it's for God to make a way in a relationship. Maybe it's for your loved ones to find Jesus. Maybe it's for rest. Maybe you are praising him in this season. Whatever that looks like, can you drop that in the comments? I see them coming, and we're going to pray over them together. For strength and clarity, loved ones to find Jesus, direction. Yeah, those are good. I need you to think about the last time that you did something for someone else and got nothing back. Not in a bitter way, just factually, right? You showed up for a client and the referral never came. Maybe you gave someone access to your work and they didn't reciprocate it. Maybe you poured into a relationship when you needed something from the person and they were nowhere. Okay, maybe you asked someone to open up a specific door for you. They said they would, and then life happened and they moved on. And you're still standing at that same door. You're probably not angry at them. You might even understand why they did that. But I think if we're being honest, there's a thought that kind of surfaces that maybe you haven't said to them or you haven't even said out loud to anybody. The thought that it's not about them at all. Okay, the thought is about God. Like, if he's actually for me, why do the people that he put in my path keep missing the moment? If this is really his plan, why does it keep depending on somebody else who forgets me? If that is similar or the exact thoughts that you have had or a version that you're living in right now, can you drop "forgot" in the comments? I just want to know who's actually in the room, because this story is going to speak directly to you this morning. Genesis 40 is that verse, and we're going to go right through it. Okay, so you're just going to say "forgot." Just keep it simple. You don't have to do the details. It's just "forgot." Okay, because we know underneath it, we know that man will fail us, right? We know that man is flawed. And so sometimes we often feel like, God, why is this person put in my path? Why do people keep coming near me or around me, in my family, my friends? They keep failing me. But why are they there, Father? Right? Okay, so here's how this live works. So I do this every morning, Monday through Friday. And I go live at 9 Central. Today I was late, so thank you guys for bearing with me, because technology was just not cooperating. 9 Central. Today I was late, so thank you guys for bearing with me, because technology was just not cooperating at all. We read the text first, and I read from a New King James Version of the scripture, and I will read it aloud to you. And then we look at the original Hebrew meaning, sometimes in Greek, sometimes I froze. I swear. Okay. Can you guys still hear me okay? I want to cry. I swear. Can you guys pray for me right now? Can you guys hear me okay? All right. Am I still freezing, you guys? I'm still freezing. Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys say I'm good now. Yes, is it yes to freezing, or I'm good? I don't know. Okay. Kind of. If I'm freezing, can you guys write freezing? Oh my goodness. Good now. I pray. I'm literally so annoyed. Okay. I can't even tell you how annoyed I am this morning. I almost threw in the towel. I've been trying to post this video that I took so much time to do before my live, And like the stuff that just normally works without issue took me like 40 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I prayed, I said, Father, whatever the enemy's doing, and he did this yesterday. I was trying to get all these things set up for our live today, and it was just like spinning its wheels for hours. And I'm like, why is this so complicated? It's not complicated. And then boop, it just starts working. Like I didn't even do anything. It just starts working. And then my live worked just fine yesterday. I don't have any tech issues. And of course, right? Of course. So I will pray about that in our prayer here in just a second. Can you guys please keep me updated and bear with me if it freezes? If I end up having to hop off, because my internet connection is totally fine. My camera is totally fine. All of the things are totally fine. But can you guys intercede for me, please? It just makes me feel like this word and what we're talking about today must be something. If I'm having all these issues, right, for no reason. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just technology, but okay. All right, you guys. That's how we do our study. We do it I read from the New King James Version of the Bible. Okay? And I read it line for line. And then I direct it to our life, our businesses, the homes. You found me because of the lag? Well, that's beautiful then. Okay? I'm curious, do you guys have a Bible that you're reading from? There's no right or wrong answer. Okay? There's no right or wrong answer. Psalm 91, yes. Did you tell me about Psalm 91 yesterday? Did we read Psalm 91? That psalm came up for me yesterday. I literally just read it. Okay. There's no right or wrong answer. I just love to know how you're following along. If you're just listening, and you're doing something, can you let me know what you're doing? I'm always so curious about that kind of stuff. Like, a lot of times when I'm listening to lives, I'm like cooking dinner or I'm doing my makeup or whatever. But if you're reading along, I'd love to know what version of the Bible you're reading from. Okay, we're going to get started. I'm going to pray because it's so needed, right? So what is that one thing that you are asking God for to move in your life before we get into prayer? Okay. The thing that you've been praying about for so long that it's almost felt like a habit instead of a conversation. I encourage you to drop that in the comments right now. Bring it to the room. I'm going to bring every single word that you guys are praying or asking to pray over into the opening prayer. And then I'm going to pray over it again after we end this live. Okay? All right. If it freezes, and as I'm praying, can you guys keep it coming so that it keeps the live like engaged kind of? But if it freezes, will you let me know? If at any point. Thank you. All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Father, I ask that you be in this room with us as you are every morning. Settle our spirits, Father. May no enemies formed against us prosper. We know, Father, where two or more are gathered, there you are. So we invite you into this room with us. Fill this room with your presence, Father. Fill this live with your presence. Go to every single individual on this live, Father. I pray that you are with them. I know that you see the comments coming in, the struggles that we are facing, the things that we have come to you time and time again over, Father. We know that you see every word and you know every detail of every story. We thank you for being with us. Even when it feels like maybe you're far away, maybe it feels like we're alone, maybe we don't even understand why we're in the circumstances we are. But we are praying and believing, Father, that you are going to make a way for us. Thank you for the struggle. As hard as it is, we know that you have made a way where it seems like there's no way. And throughout the struggle, Father, we know that it allows a deeper dependence on you. So we will keep our eyes on you and stay steadfast. I pray for everyone that comes into this live, that watches on the replay, Thank you for bringing them into this room, Father. I pray that your words continue to give them comfort, to know you better, to glorify you. And I pray for less of me and more of you, Father. Please give me the wisdom and the clarity and discernment that I need to accurately speak your word. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. All right. Whew, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to recap where we are at. Thank you guys for staying with me. Okay, we're in Genesis 39. If you are just popping in, you are right on time. Okay, so where we were at yesterday is Genesis 39. And Joseph arrives in Egypt and he is purchased as a slave he doesn't have anything. He has nothing, okay? And before the text says anything about how Jacob is, how he handled it, before it says, well, he had a good attitude about it or he worked hard, it says that Yahweh was with him, the covenant name of God, right? The most personal and relational name that God gave himself. He was used to refrain the chapter, to keep our eyes on him, to see what God is doing and how he moves through any sort of scenario, right? He used Joseph's lowest position in his life, right? He said, Joseph, keep your eyes on me. We saw it in verse 2, verse 21, verse 23. The Lord was with Jacob in the Potiphar's house, in the prison, and the two same words were used, right? The same name, the same statement of Yahweh's presence. And the writer of Genesis didn't change the language when the circumstances changed, because God's presence didn't change. Joseph does the right thing each day in the Potiphar's house, okay? He refuses Potiphar's wife when she tries to advance on him day after day. On an ordinary work day, he ends up in prison for doing exactly what God told him to do, exactly what God wanted him to do. And then there's a garment, right? His tunic, the tunic of many colors that his father gave him because he favored him. How many of you are familiar with Genesis 39? Okay. Or just the story of Joseph in general. I hope that today you're able to see, even if you're familiar with it, potentially some new parts. Okay, he was in every single moment with him, producing the same fruit in the prison that he produced in the Potiphar's house. Okay, that's where we left off. Joseph was in prison at this point. He was faithful and he had no visible evidence that anything was going to change. Okay, we're in Genesis 40. And if you guys are just joining, if you're new, if you missed yesterday, that is okay. I have to ask you guys, if you click on that little yellow square at the bottom of your page, does it show anything about a replay, like a form that says for the replay? My memory is like failing me today, and I know I set up a few forms, and I can't remember if I did that. It's in there? Okay, it's not in there. Yes, no. You had to finish your meeting and hop on to, well, I'm glad that you're here. No, it's not there. Okay. No. Okay, so like on the bottom of your screen, there's a little yellow bubble. In the options on there, it doesn't say anything about a replay. There's a 3-day challenge, which we're going to be doing today after this live. Okay, it's not there. It's fine. If you guys, gosh, that's fine. If you comment replay or you DM me and you say replay, I'll get it sent to you, okay? Something's not working. Okay, Tuesday prayer call. That's fine. It's fine, you guys. I just wanted to make sure. Maybe I forgot to put it in there. I meant to. If you click on that option that says DM and you hit replay, I will send that to you, okay? So if you just joined, welcome. I will say today too, the 3-day challenge, we are starting today. It is a 3-day challenge where we sit still and we hear God throughout the noise. Some of you guys did this challenge with us last week. It is that same challenge, so you don't have to stay on today. New Vera, my service Tuesday prayer call 3-day. All right. That's fine, you guys. I meant to. You can also go to the link in my bio and hit Bible study replays as well. That'd probably get it to you faster. We're going to be going through a 3-day challenge starting today. So it'll be today, tomorrow, and Friday. And we're going to together hear God throughout the noise. I give you interference patterns. How many of you guys were on it last week? And if you were, I'd love to know how it helped you. Okay. So if you just joined this live, we're just getting started. You can type new, hi, you're in the comments. And if you've been a woman who's been faithful, or a man, to something that God called you to, and you feel like you have been doing the work, you're showing up, you're praying over it, and you asked, and the thing that you asked a very specific person to help with just never happened, okay? They said they would, and then life moved on, and then you got left in the same place. You're in the same place as what you started. That is what this chapter is going to be about. Okay? That's what we're studying. In Genesis 40, where Joseph is in the prison, God is going to see him through. Okay? All right. So we're going to get started in Genesis 40 finally. The prisoner's dream is where we're at. It came to pass after these things that the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their lord, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was angry with his 2 officers, the chief butler and the chief baker. So he put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, in the prison, the place where Joseph was confined. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them, so they were in custody for a while. Okay? I want to pause here because I want to show you something too before I continue. So the thing about Genesis 40 and this entire chapter is that the chapter turns a single verse at the very end of verse 23, like when we get there. It says, the keeper of the prison did not look into anything that was under Joseph's authority because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did made it prosper. Oh, wait. That's the end of 39. Sorry. I was like, that doesn't sound right. Verse 23. Let me find that. Goodness gracious, you guys. Where is 23? Yet the chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. Okay? So in that last verse, this chief butler that was put into prison forgot him. Okay? He didn't remember Joseph. Everything that Joseph does in this chapter, every right decision after multiple correct interpretations that he gets from the Lord, he's asking to be remembered, and then this man forgets. But I love that God doesn't stop what's happening, okay? That's what's happening in this chapter. I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. It's just been a morning. That's all it is. I'm never nervous to do these lives. I actually love doing these lives. And I'm out of breath too. It's just been a day. That's what I'll say. Okay, that is the exact moment that we're going to show you because it shows something very specific about who God is. So, Joseph was forgotten as a human being, and he's going to stay in prison for 2 more years behind it. And God is going to use that forgotten season to position Joseph for exactly the thing that God always said was coming. Okay, so stay with me, you guys. It'll make more sense, especially if you're familiar with it. Okay, that forgotten thing was not a disruption to the plan. It was the entire thing that God had planned. It was part of it, right? We're going to see that it looks like what the heck. And I love that after we get through this, we're going to see what God was doing all along. Okay, God did not need that butler to remember Joseph on the timeline. Joseph thought, okay, things are going to move on my own time, but God didn't need that cupbearer, the butler, whatever you want to call him. He didn't need him to move on Joseph's time. Okay, Genesis shows us exactly how God works inside of the waiting. So then it says in chapter 40, verses 1-4, that it came to pass, that the chief butler and the baker offended or made the Pharaoh angry, and then they're thrown in the same, or confined with Joseph. They're thrown in the same prison, okay? Then the captain of the guard charged Joseph with these two individuals, and he served them. So they were in custody for a while together. So these two ranking high officials of Pharaoh and his court get thrown into prison. And so sometimes I'll reference it as cupbearer because that's the original Hebrew word. The one who tasted Pharaoh's wine before he drank it to make sure that it wasn't poisoned. This was not a serving position in the way we think of it, okay? So cupbearer in this culture had direct access to Pharaoh. He was trusted with the king's life. The baker was the one that was responsible for the Pharaoh's food. He had a similar position of trust. And so something that they did offended Pharaoh. It doesn't say what they did, but obviously it was enough that these two people that were very close to him, Pharaoh was like, I don't want you around me anymore. I'm sending you to prison. So they both ended up in the same prison as Joseph. And then the captain of the guard assigned Joseph to serve them. Okay, I want you to see what's happening here. So God, like from his perspective, what he's doing, okay? So Joseph has been in the prison and he has been faithful. He has had favor by the keeper of the prison. And this is exactly how he saw it at the end of Genesis 39. God now is placing two of Pharaoh's most connected officials directly to Joseph's daily care. He could have been directed to like anybody else's, but it was two of Pharaoh's like top people, essentially. The man that God is positioning for Pharaoh's palace is being in charge of two of Pharaoh's inner circles. Okay, nobody in that moment knows what's happening, right? Like the two officials and Joseph, they have no idea. The cupbearer doesn't even know who Joseph is. Okay, Joseph doesn't know who the cupbearer is going to be in this story. God is the only one who sees what this moment is, and he's already arranged it. So that is the God It's freezing, you guys. I don't know why it's doing this. Stay on with me, please. Bear with me. It's not. So for some of you guys, it isn't, and for some of you, it is. Okay, no, it's good. Yeah, can you guys bear with me? Okay, thank you. This is why it's frustrating me so much, because I hate when it does this. I pray that it does not do this tomorrow. Tomorrow, TikTok is boosting my live, and I'm going to lose my mind if it does this in the live. Okay. This must be something, right? This next part must be something. I want you to see the God that we are in relationship with right now. The people that he's placing in your daily environment, your online community, your inbox, the rooms that you're in, and the conversations that you're already having. You don't always know what you're looking at when it's happening, right? But God does. He's placing people in your path with the same intentionality that he placed the cupbearer in Joseph's. And what he requires from Joseph in this moment is just to show up and do the thing that's placed right in front of him, to serve these two men. Do it faithfully. He doesn't need to know where it's going. God knows where it's going, okay? So Joseph is in the room in a place that he didn't choose, right? He's in prison. He's there because he's being falsely accused with people that he doesn't know these people. He's doing a job that he didn't plan for. And God is the one who arranged every single part of it. I want you to think about the room that you're in right now, the community that you're building, the platform that you've been showing up to consistently. The people who keep coming back to your content, to your calls, to the spaces that you create, to the people in your life, right? That you're serving day in and day out, your children, your husband, your family members. Okay? You didn't engineer every single connection. I know a lot of times we like to take credit for it. Some of those people were placed in your world in a way that you didn't expect, okay? And you don't fully know yet what God is doing with that placement. I want you to think about this, okay? Think about this scenario that I think that some of us find ourselves in, right? Can you recognize that God has placed people in your path that you could, and opportunities and things in your life that you could not have engineered, that you could not have done on your own? If that is you, can you put present? If you recognize that the Father has placed something in your life that you could not even, like it's beyond you. But if you're still waiting for the people to show up, the circumstances, that's okay. You can drop still, like I'm still waiting. And if you guys just got here, I welcome you. I love seeing new faces. Can you drop a hi in the comments? I just want to see who's here with us. Don't tell me freezing. I rebuke it. Can you guys rebuke the enemy for me? Okay. Is there a person in your world right now, or someone that you used to be, maybe you used to be in contact with them? Okay. Who had access to something that maybe you didn't have? It's a connection, a referral, a room that you weren't in yet. And for whatever reason, it just never happened. That thing that they told you they were going to do, it just never happened. And you're still in that same place waiting for them. You're still in that same place before they said they were going to do the thing. Joseph is about to meet that person this morning, okay? So 2 of Pharaoh's officials landed in the same prison, and God puts Joseph in charge of them. And that's where we're at if you just joined. We're finishing reading what happened, and we're going to see what happens next, okay? What Joseph does with that. The way that God shows up in this moment and what door opens up that Joseph has been waiting 2 years for. It took 2 years longer than what he expected. Stay in this study with us, okay? And bear with me. If it freezes, we'll wait. We're just waiting for it to catch up, but it's just a distraction. I genuinely believe at this point it's just a distraction based on everything that's happened today. And we're still going to get the word out. Even if it takes me 4 hours, I'm going to do it. Okay? I have all day, enemy. Okay? If that is you, you don't faze me. All right, so we're looking at Genesis chapter 40, verses 5 through 7. And it says, Then the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, had a dream, both of them, each man's dream in one night, and each man's dream with his own interpretation. And Joseph came into them in the morning and looked at them and saw that they were sad. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in the custody of his lord's house, saying, Why do you look so sad today? Okay, so I'll pause there. So Joseph went into the room that they were in the morning, and he saw that they were sad. I want you to stay with that thought for a minute, okay? So Joseph's in prison. He's under this false accusation on his name, right? If you're not familiar with it, this false accusation is that the Pharaoh's wife really wanted Joseph. She was like, lay with me. And Joseph was like, no. And she kept trying to hit on him. Bird, you never have to apologize. Never. We are always here whenever you're ready. So Pharaoh's wife is still just trying to hit on him because it says that Joseph was handsome in appearance and form. And she's just super into him, I guess. And she just tries day after day, and he shoots her down. And eventually he's alone in the house, and Pharaoh's wife does it again, and Joseph's like, no, and he storms out, but he leaves his coat, that coat of many colors, his tunic, and the Pharaoh's wife uses it against him and says that he had his way with her and she didn't like it, right? You can infer what that means, but she made a false accusation. And so Pharaoh, of course, puts him into prison, but typically the cost for something like that would normally be death. Okay? Sorry, I was reading the comment. It would typically be death. Now, some scholars believe that the reason why he wasn't Pharaoh didn't do away with him immediately is because he kind of wasn't sure if his wife was telling the full story. So he gave him the minimum sentence. I'm not going to say that's accurate. That's just what some people believe. I think that makes sense, because why else? That was his wife, right? Why didn't he just explain himself? He might have. Did he? I think he might have. He did. He tried to tell the, why am I forgetting? Is it the butler? Who's the one? The chief butler. Yeah, I think it's the chief butler. And he forgot about it. Okay? He forgot about it. And so he's thrown in prison. He tells this chief butler, don't forget about me. Come back for me. And then the guy goes on with his life. So Joseph is in this place with a false accusation on his name, and he has been separated from his family for years. How many of you guys are familiar with the story that I've just joined in? Okay. Joseph has not received a new dream or a new vision since Genesis 37. He had originally received 2 visions from the Lord. Okay. But he hasn't since Genesis 37. And we're now in Genesis 40. Okay. But Yahweh was with him. The text calls that out time and time again in Genesis 39. What Joseph had wasn't a new word. What he was operating from is what God had already told him, what God had already said to him, what God had already shown him about who God is. So Joseph had every reason to walk into that room, serve these men in a mechanical way, because he didn't want to do it, right? This is not Mary's Joseph. This is a different Joseph. This is the Joseph of Jacob. Yeah, this is a different Joseph. So he had every reason to just kind of go throughout the motions with this and then walk out. He had a legitimate reason to be annoyed or have grief or confusion. He had his own unanswered prayers, and those were real, but he looked at these men and he saw them and he asked them, what's wrong? Okay, so the word in Hebrew that's used means to see or to perceive. So when he walked into that room, he saw these men, he perceived what was going on. That same word is used throughout Genesis for ordinary sight. That's also what it means. So when Joseph walked in and he saw their faces, he said something about it. It shows me that is part of his character. Scripture wants us to see his character. Most people in that position would have kept their eyes down, but Joseph looked up. Okay, it tells you something specific about what faithfulness looked like for Joseph in prison. Okay, he was not just doing a task. He was present enough in somebody else's experience to notice something that they hadn't even told him yet. Well, he was still inside his own unanswered prayer. He hadn't gone inward in a way that made him unavailable to the people that God placed in his care. Okay? That's where the door to everything opens up. If Joseph had walked into this scene this morning with his head down and managing his own grief and doing just the bare minimum, he would have missed it. Okay? The dream conversation. So that starts because Joseph asked a question. Okay, he initiated it. He says, why do you look so sad today? He saw something in their faces and he asked. And then the question that follows that is the moment that eventually gets him out of prison and into Pharaoh's palace. Okay? Him being attentive was the door that opened. I'm going to put this as a direct line to our lives so you guys see and you can connect where I'm going with this, okay? Are you like, what? How does this? Do any of you guys see what I'm talking about yet? Are you like, tell me more, Vanessa? Okay. Do you see it? Say yes if you see it, or say tell me more because you don't. Because I'll go more in depth too. I need you to see it. Okay, so there's a direct line to our life and our businesses, our 9-to-5s, our leadership positions, whatever that is, okay? The people that are already in our world, the ones that are coming into our lives, the ones that are already in our community, the ones who have not said what they actually need yet, the attentiveness that you give to them, that's the door. It's not a strategy, it's not a tactic. Genuine attention to what's on the faces of the people that God places in your care. The kind of presence, even when you are tired, even when you're in your own season of grief, when you have too many things going on, when it feels like I cannot take on one more thing. I'm empty, I'm depleted. And you're just day in and day out, you're kind of like going through the motions. God asks us to still stay attentive because God uses it to move you from one chapter to the next. Okay? I need you to see that even in the struggle, God is not discounting that. He sees it. And he does what he does with Joseph. Okay? He uses that. He knows that. He sees the posture of your heart. Okay? He sees that. That is the God we serve. He knows the things that you are doing day in and day out. The thing that looks like the hardest thing that you're going through, that you can't make a way, that it looks impossible, that people don't see the things that you're doing every single day, that you're in a place that maybe you wouldn't have signed up for. He says, that's the thing that I'm going to move through. And I pray that that gives you hope. Okay, so in Genesis 8, it says, and they said to him, we each had a dream, and there's no interpreter of it. Do you see that? Just that one sentence, okay? They said to him, we each have a dream, or we each have had a dream, and there's no interpreter of it. Ugh. I want you guys to see what's happening in this moment, okay? Because Joseph was not selfless, they opened up. Do you guys see that? If they had not opened up to him, I can't say that he would still be in prison. But our attentiveness to others is a blessing. Okay? It says, we don't have anybody to interpret this. So Joseph said to them, do not interpretations belong to God? So Joseph said to them, tell them to me, please. Tell me, I want to hear. What's troubling you, right? That sounds so similar to Jesus. Do not interpretations belong to God? Okay. The sentence in all of that is Joseph's theology in 6 words. Okay. He's been in prison. He had 2 years of silence, essentially. Text doesn't record anything coming from God to tell him, I'm still with you, even though God is, right? We know that he is. It tells us, but God was with him. Yahweh was with him. Time and time again, right? He has no dream or no new dreams, no vision. He had that as a teenager, okay, from God in Genesis 37. But God has not been absent. Genesis showed us that. Can you guys put that in the comment, the chat? God is not absent. God is not absent. Okay. Yahweh was with him actively in the Potiphar's house. Thank you, Erica. If you ever have to mute anybody, you can just mute them for the whole live. I always do it for the whole live. But God was not absent, right? Joseph hadn't had any new revelation, but God was not absent. When someone presents him with a need that required his wisdom, right? His first response is not to perform his answer and take credit for it. Don't give him any grace, Erica. Be ruthless. Okay, see that? He didn't take credit for it. He said, what did he say? He said, do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me the dreams. The Hebrew underneath belong to God is Elohim, right? The word for God, the creator, as the one with authority, right? He pointed it back to God, yes. Joseph is saying that interpretation isn't mine to produce. It's God's to give. And then Joseph makes himself available to receive it on behalf of these two. So he gives credit where credit is due, but he also recognizes that his gifts are useful, right? He makes himself available simply by asking, simply by being attentive. That is surrender in practical terms. He's not pretending that he has something that he doesn't have to offer these people. He steps forward, but he names the source first, right? He doesn't take credit for the gift. He doesn't take credit for the gift before the gift is even given. I want you to see that too, to relate it back to our everyday lives. This isn't like a condemnation by any means, but a lot of us do this or something very similar. Okay, every time that you create content, you create a new offer, you create something in your life, your business, you show up to a live, you lead a client through something, you teach someone something about their faith, you create a safe home for your family, you show up for your significant other, you have something real to give them, right? You don't manufacture it. And the person that God is sending to us specifically is being sent because of what God put into you, not because of what you can produce on your own. That beautiful way that you can nurture and love on your family, God placed that into you. And it's a gift for us to be able to steward that, to share that. The knowledge that you have, the people in your space, right? We thank God for that opportunity. And as hard as it can be sometimes, it is a gift, okay? So if you guys just joined in, good morning. Can you type in new in the comments if you're just joining us? I want to make sure that you, thank you. Thank you for that, Lily. Do you go by Lily or Lillian? My grandmother's name was Lily. Her middle name was Lillian. And I almost named, if we had a daughter, which I don't, I have 2 boys. If we had a daughter, her middle name was going to be Lillian after my grandma's. So I love that name. It's one of my favorites. If you just joined us, welcome. We're in Genesis 40. And I'm going to show you where we're at so that it applies to your life. Okay? Why it matters for where you're at right now. So Joseph is in prison, and he walks in one morning and he sees 2 of Pharaoh's officers, or the officials, whatever you want to call them, officials. They're troubled, and he notices before they even say a word. Okay, he asks them, what's wrong? Oh my gosh, thank you guys. Thank you for the gifts. Okay, so he notices that there's something in their face. And you know what? I have to also point this back out too. God does something almost identical to that we see in Scripture. He saw that with Cain right before he took out his brother Abel. God says, your countenance has fallen. which means your face is fallen, right? You look mad, you look sad. Something about your demeanor has changed. God points that out. He also points out Laban and Jacob. Jacob goes to Laban and he notices that Laban's countenance has changed. Right? He notices the demeanor. His favor is no longer with him, right? He doesn't like him anymore, essentially. I think that's for a very specific reason. It's showing us that God is paying attention, that we are to pay attention to those around us as well. And ask. Point it out. Say, what's wrong? I'm here for you. This isn't in scripture. This is just my own interpretation, but I feel like us as individuals, us as humans, we tend to go about our day in our own heads, and there's so many thoughts and things that we're feeling. And usually when somebody asks you, how are you? We just say, we're good, I'm fine. And listen, I'll be honest, like I'm not gonna go up and tell everybody like my life story. So generally, if I really wanna know, I say, no, really, how are you? And I guarantee if you do that with somebody, they open up. So I'm going to ask you guys, okay, how are you? Not the surface answer, but actually, how are you? Even if this is the only room that you say this in today, and you continue going on your day to day, let this be that space that you can exhale. If it is good, give a shout of praise, right? But if it is not good, this is a space that it is okay for you guys to share that. I want you to know that one of the reasons why I do this often is because I think a lot of times we as individuals of faith, as followers, as children, right? I think sometimes we feel like we have to put on this version of ourselves that is like, I have to maintain because I don't want anybody to see that I'm struggling because I have faith. I have faith that God is going to get me through, and I know you do. God knows you do. But it is understandable if there are moments where sometimes you don't feel okay. And I want you to see that you are not the only one that feels like, I don't want to diminish the way that you feel. I don't want that to come across that way. But that it is okay. That there are others that feel that way, and we are strong in our faith, right? Or that sometimes our faith wavers. Sometimes we go through seasons where we don't even know. Okay, that's where Jacob is. He is in his own situation, but he still sees others, and he says, why are you sad? And it changes everything for him, right? It shows us that God is still present. He made a way, okay? So I encourage you guys, if you're new, stay. If you're in that season too, here after this live, we're going to be doing day 1 of our 3-day challenge. So if you click on like you see on the bottom of my page, there's like an icon. There's one at the bottom of your screen. Okay, if you click on that, we're doing a 3-day challenge, and it's day 1 of hearing God through the noise. Okay. And it's a 3-day challenge where it's literally you just stay on after this live, and I'm going to go through it. It's like 30 minutes. And I want you to understand potentially what God is doing while you're waiting. It's free. It's available to all of you. But I send you replays and recaps. If you guys click on that link at the little button at the bottom of the page on the left-hand side, that allows me to send you reminders for the other 2 days or replays if you miss them, along with some additional information to help you through. Okay? So, that is where we're at. We're going to go into Genesis 40 verses 9, and I'm going to I'll stop at 19. Not for the day, just to recap. So it says, and the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and he said to him, behold, my dream in a vine was before me, and in that vine were 3 branches. It was as though it budded, its blossoms shot forth, and its clusters brought forth ripe grapes. Then Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said to him, "This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Now within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your place, and you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand according to the former manner when you were his butler. But remember me when it is well with you, and please show kindness to me. Make mention of me to Pharaoh and get me out of this house." Okay. "For indeed I was stolen away from the land of the Hebrews, and also I have done nothing here that they should put me into the dungeon," right? So he's advocating for himself. He's like, listen, I did this for you. Please, when you go back to Pharaoh, tell him I didn't do it. Okay. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said to Joseph, I was also in my dream, and there were 3 white baskets on my head. In the uppermost basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, and the birds ate them, and out of the basket on my head. So Joseph answered and said, "This interpretation of it, the 3 bakers are 3 days. Within 3 days the Pharaoh will lift off your head from you and hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh from you." What a complete contrast. I'm sorry. Like, I know that's coming, but like, I have to point this out. It's like, could you imagine both of them sitting there, and one's like, tell me my dream, right? And one is like, okay, you're going to have something good happen to you. And the other guy's like, ooh, me too, right? And then Joseph goes to him and he's like, you're also going to have 3 baskets. And I just picture like the chief baker being like, yes, I'm going to get out of here. And then he goes, but like Pharaoh's going to do away with you, and you're going to hang from a tree, and birds are going to eat from you. Like, I'd be like, please tell me that is not true. Like, and it, that to me would be like horrifying. Of course, right? Nobody wants to hear that. But I love the fact that the cupbearer's dream is full of growth and completion. And there's a vine with 3 branches and a bud and a blossom and ripe grapes, right? And then the cup goes straight into Pharaoh's hand. And then everything in the dream moves forward and it arrives. There's no interruption, right? And then we look at the baker, and it's one where there's 3 branches, 3 days. And it says Pharaoh's going to lift your head. Okay? In that culture of that time, it was a royal idiom for restoration, to position and favor. But then Joseph tells him plainly, but you're going to go back to your place, the role that you held, and you're going to hold it again. Okay? That's what he's telling him in that moment. And then, sorry, not the baker. I said that wrong. The chief butler. He's just telling him he's going to restore everything that you had lost. Okay? And then he says, remember me and show me kindness. Remember me when it is well with you. Joseph asks that. Like, he names what happens to him also, and he names it accurately. Like, I was stolen from my land. I did nothing to deserve the dungeon. He's not being dramatic, like literally that's what happened to him. I think that he's also, like, he has this legitimate opportunity and he asks it directly. And he's telling the truth about what happened, and then he makes a specific request. To me, this is Jacob, and it's showing Joseph's humility in full view, okay? He has had enough. He's like, my life for the past several years has just been so crazy. Sorry, 1 second, you guys. My live is detecting and stupid. I wonder if there's a way to get these dumb thumbs up off. I'll have to look into that. They literally drive me nuts because I'm not giving a thumbs up or a thumb down. It's annoying. Anyway, I had to do the little puzzle because it was detecting inactivity, so sorry. I think what's happening is that Joseph is showing his humanity by saying, I'm done. I've had enough. I've been in prison long enough. My brother sold me as a slave. I've been taken away from my family. I had something with Pharaoh and then I was falsely accused. Like, I wouldn't blame him for feeling like he was just spent over nothing. Like, Joseph is very innocent in all of these scenarios. Like, do you ever have someone where you see them and you're like, did you get yourself in that situation? Like, you keep finding yourself in patterns of like, just down on your luck. They're just down on their luck all the time. And sometimes you're like, are you victim? Like, actually? Well, Joseph actually is, okay? I think Joseph is very humble throughout most of all of this, right? But he has this very human moment. And I think that I love that God doesn't rebuke him for saying, I'm done. Because Joseph wasn't wrong to ask. He also wasn't lacking in faith because he was asking a human being to help him. He just named the truth. He identified, well, this is where it really came from. And then he made this very direct request. And that was wisdom, not weakness. Okay, so you're allowed to make direct requests. You're allowed to tell the truth about your situation, what you've done, what you've built, what you haven't been given credit for, what's been misinterpreted about you, and then ask specifically. Like, ask for help. Tell them, just like Joseph did, okay? Because that's not arrogance. And God was present with Joseph as he did that in that moment. And then we look to the baker, okay? That's what I was talking about before. So the baker's dream looked similar on the surface, right? 3 baskets, 3 days. But then where the cupbearer went into Pharaoh's hand, like the cupbearer's cup went into Pharaoh's hand, the baker's baskets were being eaten by birds before they arrived. So Joseph gave him that same directness that he gave the cupbearer. You're going to be hanged in 3 days. Like, he just says it outright. He doesn't soften it. And I don't even know what I would do. He didn't say, well, maybe it's going to happen, or I'm not sure, but how many of you would probably have softened it? That's me. I'm like, well, this is what I see, but maybe I'm wrong. I love that he was just direct about it because I feel like he had confidence in the Lord. He had confidence in the interpretation. Okay? He told the baker the truth in the same way that he told the cupbearer. I think so Joseph had a gift on his life, right? He was able to interpret dreams. He was given that in the very beginning at age 17. He was accurate. Okay, the gift that he operated in didn't change its output based on the answer being easier to deliver. He did exactly as it intended, regardless of what came with that. That's that kind of faithfulness that comes from actually trusting in God and the gifts that he gives you. I love that he wasn't managing this man's feelings just because he was trying to protect his own position. He told them both exactly what he saw, and it cost him nothing. Okay? To me, it shows that the outcome of his own situation was already fully in God's hand. And it didn't matter whether or not the baker liked his answer. He just told it plainly. Like, what I'm saying is that God gave a gift, and it is our job to steward our gifts and not to manage the emotions of other people. Like, we're walking in assignment, right? So if you just joined this live, welcome. Okay, we are in Genesis 40. I'm going to pause here because before the live ends, or before the Bible study portion of it ends, we're going to cover in prayer. And we're going to pray over today. And I want to make sure I get these in for the people that are newer to the live or have come into the live since the last time we did it. But I want to know, what situation are you praying that God moves for in your life? Your business, your health, your family. It can be just one word, and we're going to cover it in prayer. Okay. All right. So in Genesis 40, verse 2, it says, "Now it came to pass on the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast for all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and the chief baker among his servants. Then he restored the chief butler to his butlership again, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet the chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him." Okay, so that's where Genesis 40 ends. But he forgot him. How do you forget that? How do you forget? Like, to me, that's so dramatic. You have one telling you that you're going to get out of prison and everything's going to be restored. Then you have another who's going to have his life end. And the only thing, like as a form of saying, like being helpful to these men, Joseph just says, "Please just remember me. Tell the Pharaoh that I didn't do this." That's all he's asking. He's not like, "Pay me money, perform an act for me." Like, he doesn't say anything. He just says, "Please just defend my honor. Like, go to bat for me." But the fact that Joseph was right, to me, it's like, how do you forget that? Like, he said it everything to a T, and these men just didn't. Neither of them did. The chief baker also had an opportunity too. Joseph was right. His gift was a very real gift, the ability to interpret dreams. The interpretation came from God, right? And then there's this man who is restored back to power, back to the inner circle of Pharaoh's court, who personally experiences the accuracy of what Joseph carries, like his gift. That's real. Have you guys ever had I don't know that I have, but like an encounter with somebody that named, honestly, if somebody did, like maybe somebody's prophesied over your life, they meant well. Like somebody's prophesied over your life and it came to be. I don't think I would just forget that. Generally, I feel like anytime people have done something even remotely similar, I'm just like, wow, I remember. And then I can't imagine just like forgetting about it. Okay. He did exactly like everything that he said came to pass. And then it says, "Yet the chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him." That's the whole verse. There's 6 words in English. In Hebrew, they're even shorter. It says he did not remember. That's it. Or some of them say, and he forgot it. And he forgot him. But he didn't remember and he forgot. And the writer is being emphatic on that on purpose. So this is not just a partial memory. When he went back to Pharaoh's court, back to his position, back to his wine, back to his access, his daily proximity to the most powerful man in that world at the time, somehow Joseph didn't cross his mind. And God allowed that. Okay, he didn't prompt the cupbearer's memory in that moment. He didn't send a reminder. He didn't close the door that Joseph asked to be opened. He allowed the forgetting, okay, because it was inside the sequence. Oh my goodness. Inside the sequence that he was already running. Not outside of it. God was already in it. He allowed it to happen because God had already ordained a way out. And I want you to stay in that this moment, okay? So God gave Joseph the interpretation, which means that God arranged for the cupbearer to be placed in Joseph's care. Then God gave Joseph the boldness to ask to be remembered. God didn't prompt the cupbearer to follow through. He let the man forget for 2 more years. Okay, it's not just a short period of time. It was for 2 more years. This part of the story, of Joseph's story, most people, when they're reading through scripture, most teachers, pastors, whomever, most Bible studies kind of skip on to the next chapter. But this is the verse that tells you the most about who God is. Okay, he's not depending on a human being to carry his plan for him. Okay, he doesn't need the person who forgot your name to remember his timing, like God's timing to hold it. He's not dependent on any man to carry out the purpose of his plan. He knows that we all fall short. Okay, he doesn't need the door that the human being was supposed to hold to hold it open. God has other doors. Okay, God has other means in mind. Okay, God has a timeline that cannot be disrupted by someone else's forgetfulness. And he's not scrambling when another person ends up forgetting or dropping the ball on something that they were supposed to help you with, and they just don't show up. But Joseph waits 2 more years. He stays in prison for 2 more years. And then Pharaoh has a dream. Okay? God didn't need the cupbearer to work on a human schedule. He needed Joseph in front of Pharaoh at a specific moment for a specific dream at the precise point in history when the 7 years of plenty were about to begin. Okay? There is no amount of human forgetfulness that was going to move Joseph past this moment too early. That timing was God's to hold, and he knew exactly when the perfect time was going to be to get him out of that situation. Not the cupbearers, the person who didn't follow through, right? It wasn't on him. It wasn't on the connection that went silent, or the referral that never came, or the person that told us that they would mention our name that didn't. They're not variables that determine whether God and what he said comes to pass. Okay, they never were. All of those people, all those times that we've been let down, or we were counting on something, or they didn't follow through, they don't deter from God's plan for us. God's plan for us was never dependent on their consistency, right? It's always been held by his. The covenant promise is always his to hold. Okay? So if you guys are coming in, before we move into the close, we're in Genesis 40. I'm going to ask you guys again, what is the one area that maybe somebody said they'd show up for you and they didn't? What is the one thing that you've been praying that God moves through for you and it hasn't yet? It doesn't have to be a full sentence. It can just be a short phrase or just a word, because God knows all the details, right? I want you to drop that in the comments. Maybe the one human door that you've been watching, waiting for somebody to open. Okay, we're going to bring that to the room and continue to pray over it. I'm going to get a drink because I haven't done that. And I forgot to. I will say too, if you've showed up and nothing has moved yet, and you need to know what God is doing in the middle of that, here in a little bit, after we finish the study, stay on. There's a little yellow button at the bottom of your screen, on the left-hand side. It says Hearing God Through the Noise. It's a 3-day challenge. Today is day 1. And we're going to look at how to hear God throughout the noise of our day, through all the things that we go through that are they're honestly distractions. I call them interference patterns. We're going to name them. And on days 2 and 3, we're going to work through how to overcome them. Okay. Thank you guys for putting those in the comments. Your marriage, your family, your finances. Yes. Health and marriage. Finances, addiction, income, health. Marriage is a big one today. I know that God sees them. Okay, so if you guys are joining for the first time, welcome. Okay, I do these Bible studies every morning at 9 Central, and I go live for about 2 hours. today on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I end the study at like an hour and a half-ish. And then we go into our 3-day challenge, and we do that as a community together. If you did it last week, can you tell me what you noticed as your interception, why am I forgetting on it? Your interruption pattern. What one did you guys find as your primary? Because you don't have to stay on to do days 1, 2, and 3 again. It's going to be the same thing. I just do it every week because I feel like it's so important. Was it helpful for you? Have you been able to use your counters? I pray that it helps you. If you guys haven't, go back in and do it. Okay? And if you haven't even been a part of it, or you forgot, or you didn't watch the replays, this is your opportunity to join us again. Okay? Just click on the little yellow box at the bottom of your screen, and I send you the replays if you're not able to do all 3 days. And for those of you that are new, can you put new in the comments? I have a gift for you. If you also click on that little yellow box, I have a gift for you just joining this live. It's a 40-day or 44 questions to help you during times where you're facing a tough decision and you just want to lean in closer to God. Questions that you can ask. Okay, that's my gift to you. So if you guys go to the little yellow bubble with an arrow at the bottom of your page on the left-hand side, there's an option that says like thank you gift, I think. Make sure you guys get it. It won't show you the pins. It's fine. Today is just being a day. It knows about tomorrow, so it's trying to be about as difficult as possible. That's fine. Okay, there was an error. Goodness gracious. What does it say when it does an error? And which one is it telling you guys that there is an error on? You would think, right? Link in is not working. It says what? It just brings the codes. Were you guys able to even put in your email address, or it literally just gives you an error? No option for downloading. It worked just fine yesterday. It's been working just fine. See? Do you see what I mean, you guys? I'm not trying to be dramatic. It's just literally being annoying. You can't enter in anything. Can I ask you guys a favor? If I try to fix it, will you guys stay on? Will you not leave me? You went out of the live and came back in. It'll take your email and your name. I just want to get you that gift. All right, let me see if it's entering anybody's name in at all. Thank you, guys. Thank you for bearing with me today. I'm tired of this nonsense. That's how I feel today. I'm tired of this nonsense. Have you ever heard of it's like a voiceover or something, and it's like, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's how I feel today. All right. It worked for you guys? He is working hard today. He's trying not to get it to you. Mama Val, yours is in. Bird, yours is in. Jamie, yours is in. I'm seeing him come through. Fix it, Felix. Yes. Wreck it, Ralph. It's not working for you. Okay, so if it's okay, Renee, you can stay. It's not just for women. For those of you guys that went out and came back in, did it work? You couldn't click the link, but you did enter your email. No, it still didn't work. What is this day? No, it's not the explore my services. I don't even know why it says that. Yours worked. Did you do anything magical? Because why is it working for some and it's not working for others? Where are you guys trying it from? Are you trying it from your phone? If it worked for you, are you trying it from your phone or your desktop? Is anybody even using their desktop to watch a live? I don't do that, but some people do. Your phone. Okay, so those of you that are saying that you did it from your phone, does that mean that it worked? I just want to know if it worked for you, where were you at? Your phone, it didn't work. You know what, you guys? I don't want to keep you. Which one are you? So all of you are doing the 40 questions, or are you also doing the 3-day challenge? Have a blessed day, Sean. I'll be praying for you. Thank you for hopping on here. The 3-day challenge. 40 questions. Both. I'm going to pause the music, okay, you guys? We're going to go quiet. It gets so quiet. Like after I end my lives and then go right back into, or like go back into my day, I like turn off the music because it's a little loud for me. And it's so quiet. It's so weird. All right. So let me troubleshoot with you guys while you are on here. And thank you. Please stay. Don't leave me. I want you guys to hear the end of it. All right. You guys clicked on the Hearing God Through the Noise challenge. It should be on day 1. And for some of you it worked and some of you it didn't. And it's there. Do you guys see 3 options? You just sent me a photo of what you can see. Thank you. Let me look at that. We got to get this fixed. And can I tell you guys something though? I have to send this to TikTok. I'm blessed that I have somebody that can help me through this. But you know what? Maybe I'm going to look at this as a blessing, okay? So I'm going to tell you guys a secret. Some of you already know. Tomorrow, TikTok is pushing out my live to about 1 to 2 million people. Okay, it's going to go to like their For You pages. Originally, it was supposed to be today. And when I had the call with TikTok yesterday, they were like, we're actually going to schedule it for tomorrow. And I was like, okay, well, that gives me a day, so then I went in and made sure like the forms were working, set up some automations. It's probably a me thing. I'm not going to blame it 100% on the enemy. It potentially is a me thing, but it was working yesterday. So like the fact that it's not is super annoying, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of the best way because I've done this in the past where I send you, like you guys that request the gift, and it literally it takes me all day to send you guys the messages. Here's what I'll say. Thank you guys for helping me with that. And if any of you can like stay on even after the questions to just troubleshoot with me to make sure you get it, I'm going to work through that. But the workaround for this is if you go to the link in my bio, there's my link tree pops up and the first option says, get the quiet questions guide. That is the free gift. Okay. For the 3-day challenge, can you guys just message me and I'll just send it to you separately? Cause I don't have a drop down for that. But we'll do what we can. I'll just send both to you guys that fill out the form because I'm not going to know which one is which now. So that's where we'll go. Let me turn the music back on and we're going to get back to where we're going. Again, another distraction, right? But we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. All right. So I'm going to pull the whole chapter together for what God has been doing the entire time. And if any of you have to pop off, can you just message me replay? Or you can go to the link in my bio and it says catch the replays. That'll get it to you faster. Okay, so I'm going to pull the whole chapter together for us right now and show you what God has been doing the entire time, okay? Joseph is in prison. He didn't put himself there. He did not deserve to be there. He was being faithful in the Potiphar's house, and his wife still tried to tempt him, okay? Then we see that he was faithful in the prison. He has received favor from the keeper of the prison, and God was actively present in every single one of those facts. He was with him always. Then there's two men in Pharaoh's house, in Pharaoh's courtland, I should say, that ended up in that same prison, okay? God arranged that placement. Then Joseph has been assigned to serve them. Joseph pays enough attention that one morning he notices that something is wrong. This is so weird, you guys. Like, my hearing kind of went out in one of my ears and now I'm only hearing a ringing. What is up? I swear, if you guys are part of my lives, this like never happened, so I don't really know. Okay. So, Joseph is placed there with these two men and they each tell a dream. Tell them that they have a dream and there's no interpreter there. Then Joseph says that interpretations belong to the Lord. Okay. Then he says, tell me the dreams. I'm not old enough for menopause, but thank you though. I don't normally hear ringing. He says, tell me the dreams. And he gave the gift that God had put into him without calculating the reason of what would return in that, okay? Both interpretations came true, exactly as he said. Then that cupbearer was restored back to Pharaoh's side, okay? And Joseph says, please remember me in this moment. And then the man forgets him. God is present in the forgetting in the same way that he was present in the favor. God didn't step back when the cupbearer walked out of the prison and went on with his life. Okay? He wasn't surprised. God wasn't adjusting the plan. God was holding it. I want you to see this in Psalms 31, verse 15. Okay? I have this written down, so I'm just going to read from it. I'm 34. But thank you for thinking that. In Psalms 31:15, it says, my times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and from those who persecute me. Okay, so David wrote this in a season where he was being persecuted, where people who were supposed to be in his corner weren't. And he says, my times are not in your hand. That means that they're not in the hand of the person that forgot. They're not dependent on the door that it didn't open in your hand. Then we look in Proverbs 19:21 and it says, there are many plans in a man's heart, nevertheless the Lord will stand. So the cupbearer had plans when he walked out of that prison. None of them included Joseph. And God's counsel held anyway. Okay, the Lord's counsel still stands regardless of what our human plans think that they need to do, or what they include or don't include. They still stand. That is the God that's in Genesis 40. It is not a God who panics when a human being forgets or drops the ball. He is a God whose timeline is not dependent on us as human beings. It's not in the hands of the person who forgot us. He placed Joseph in the prison at the exact moment when those two men were going to need the specific thing that only Joseph could offer, right? He was the interpreter. He positioned Joseph faithfully for a moment that was already coming. And he held the timing from the moment that Joseph walked into the prison, the moment that the Pharaoh had a dream that nobody could interpret, and nobody in all of Egypt could interpret it. Okay, Joseph was the one for it, and God had been moving. So sometimes when we feel like we're in a season where we're being faithful and we're waiting, you've done the work, right? You've built the thing, you've asked to be remembered in rooms that have gone silent. You've watched doors stay closed. And you probably felt like they should have been open by now, right? You've had the thought, well, maybe I should have done something differently by now. Maybe if I had said something differently or positioned myself differently or asked the right moment, the answer would have come to me by now. Genesis 40 isn't telling you that you have done something wrong. It's telling you that the timeline was never in the hands of the person that you asked. It was always in God's. Joseph asked to be remembered, and then he was forgotten, but he ended up exactly where God told him that he always said he would be, okay? The forgetting was not a setback to the plan. It was the plan that was running on God's schedule instead of Joseph's, and he's doing the exact same thing for you in your situation right now. The thing that seems like the door is closed, God is holding on to the timing until the exact moment that your presence in that room makes the most sense. God isn't scrambling because a man forgot. He's not adjusting. He knows exactly what he's doing, and you are not behind. And I want you to sit with that, okay? And then I want you to type something out in the comments, okay? I want you to do this because I think that if you type it, it shifts something in you. And you know what? Based on the day that we're having today, I want to believe that this is intentionally for you to type out, okay? There's been something that has been keeping us from getting to this point, and I think it could be this moment. Maybe something will shift with you if you say this, okay? So Joseph was faithful in the prison, and he was accurate in the gift. He asked to be remembered. He got forgotten. The forgetting was not the end of the story, okay? It was 2 years of preparation for the cupbearer, for the thing that the cupbearer could not have arranged, even if he tried, okay? Type this: God holds the timeline. That's it. God holds the timeline. That is everything, okay? Not me, not the person that forgot, not the door that stayed closed. He holds it. God holds the timeline. Yes, God holds the timeline. Here's something specific that I want you guys to see in these 2 years as you put that in the chat, okay? If the cupbearer remembered Joseph in the morning that he had walked out of the prison, Joseph would not have gone to Pharaoh 2 years before Pharaoh had the dream, okay? He would have gone to him at the wrong time. Pharaoh had 2 years, it had been 2 years before Pharaoh had the dream, where Joseph was needed. If Joseph would have gone there, all of the things that you'll see that end up happening, they wouldn't have happened, okay? There would have been no dream to interpret. There had been no food crisis on the horizon, no position to step into. The door that Joseph was asking for was not the door that God was preparing him for. The door that Joseph was asking for would have taken him into a room where there was nothing yet in the place. Okay, so the 2 years of forgetting are not 2 years of Joseph's story standing still. They're 2 years of God moving Egypt towards a moment that was going to require exactly what Joseph carried. The 7 years of plenty had a start date. The 7 years of famine had a start date. Pharaoh's dream had a date that was placed on it before Pharaoh even had it. And Joseph needed to be standing in that room on that specific day with a specific gift for the entire thing to work. Okay, so God did not need the cupbearer to cooperate earlier. And he didn't need Joseph to leave 2 years earlier. Okay, he needed Joseph positioned for a moment that the butler had no visibility into. And so for you guys, Maybe you have had a moment where you heard God and you're like, I know that was you. I know that was you, God. And you moved in the right direction. You something confirmed it. Maybe a client said yes. A conversation went perfectly, right? A word came that matched exactly what you had already been believing. And then nothing followed. Like you got your hopes up almost. The confirmation happened, but the next thing didn't. And you have been in that gap between what was confirmed and what has not materialized yet. And you're potentially wondering, did I misread that? Wondering if maybe I missed a step. Wondering, did God change his mind on me? Genesis 40 is not telling you that you misread it. It is telling you that you're in the 2 years period, right? Not technically 2 years, but you're in that period like Joseph was, that the confirmation that you heard was real. The gifts that he gave you, they're accurate, right? Joseph was right about everything, and he still waited a full 2 years, okay? That gap between the confirmation and then the fulfillment, that's not evidence that you heard something wrong or you did something wrong. It's evidence that God's timing runs on a sequence, and you can't see that sequence from where you're standing right now. It's because that door hasn't opened for you yet. That doesn't mean that it's the wrong door. It's just not ready yet. And neither is the room on the other side of it, okay? Yes, God holds the timeline. We're not behind, right? You're on time. You're on time for something that you don't have visibility for yet, but God does, right? But God does. If you guys just popped in, we're in Genesis 40. Okay, so that's what I want you guys to hold on to. The room is being prepared for you. So hold on, right? Can you guys put that in the comments? I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on. So here's what I'm going to leave you with for the study portion of it today. Okay, how many of you are going to stay on for the day 1 of hearing God through the noise challenge that we're going to do here in a minute? If you are, can you put me in the comments? Me, stay. Okay. So Joseph was placed in a prison that he couldn't have been in, or should not have been in, I should say. But he was faithful in it, and he paid enough attention to the people around him that God placed in his care. And he took notice of their faces, their demeanor, and he said something before they did. And he asked what was going on. Okay, he made himself available to carry a gift that belonged to God, not him. He gave both men an accurate interpretation, and he told the cupbearer the truth. I was stolen from my land. I did nothing to deserve this dungeon. Remember me when you get out. And the cupbearer went back to Pharaoh's court, and he forgot. Okay, God did not stop, and he didn't explain it. He didn't send a messenger. He just stayed in this moment with Joseph. God didn't prompt the cupbearer's memory. He just let Joseph stay in prison for 2 more years after Joseph did everything that he was supposed to do. But God was still actively holding the plan the entire time. So if you have been in a season where you are doing every single thing right, you're posting your content, you're showing up for the people that God placed in your care, you're asking for the things that you need, you're naming what you've done and what you deserve access to, and some of the people are not showing up in the way that they're supposed to. They're not moving in the way that you need them to. They're not showing up. Some of the doors that I feel like we felt like we're about to open. Like, man, that door was going to open for me, but it's still closed. Genesis 40 is not telling you to try harder or to wait more patiently. It's telling you it's telling you something even more specific than that. It's telling you that the door never depended on the person that was watching it. God's timeline for you has never been dependent or been held in the hands of the human that forgot it. God's times are his. right? They're on his timeline. He was with Joseph throughout all of it, and he's with you in this season the same way, and God is not finished. Okay? That is where we're at. So, we're going to close in prayer for the Bible study portion. Okay? We'll end in that part of it, and then we're going to go into our 3-day challenge. It's maybe like 20, 30 minutes. It's not long. So if you can stay, I encourage you to. All right. So I'm going to ask that you guys put in the comments what you were praying for, and then we're going to pray over here in a second. I'm going to close the Bible study portion in prayer, and then we're going to move on to the challenge, okay? So I'm going to give you guys a moment to put that in there. It can be just one word. Yeah, my children. It could be your mom's health. Yes, all of those things. Finances, family, career, all those things. Your children, yeah. Clarity. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity for us to gather today. Thank you for staying with us throughout this live. Thank you for allowing it to continue. As we go into this next challenge, Father, we pray that no threats or weapons formed against us shall prosper. Thank you for being with us throughout every season, throughout every struggle that we have. Father, we know that you see all of these comments coming in. The ones of marriage, of family, of children, of health, of clarity. For you to move in a way, Father, that only you can. I pray for comfort as we navigate these seasons, knowing that you have gone before us and you're making a way. That you have already ordained, you have already written our next steps. Thank you, Father. Thank you for being with us even when we are in the middle and we cannot see what it is that you're doing. Thank you for being patient with us as we navigate this. Father, as we step into this next season, I pray that we come out of it with praise because you took us through a season that only you could, in a way that we can look back and say, but God was with me, right? But only God could have taken me through that season. I thank you for everything that you do for us each and every day. Thank you for the breath in our lungs, for the ability to wake up this morning and worship you. Thank you for all you do in our lives, Jesus. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. All right, you guys. Oh, that is where we're at. So we're going to be in Genesis 41 tomorrow. And pray tomorrow goes better than today, if I'm being honest. We are going to go into our Hearing God Through the Noise challenge. It is a 3-day challenge, and it is one where we go through each day with new stuff. So if you aren't able to stay for the full 3 days, that is okay. I'm going to still ask that you guys try to fill out the form because I know some of them are going through for some of you. So if you can you click on that little yellow bubble at the bottom of the screen and fill that out? That way I can send you the 3 days, like the reminders and the replays and just some supplemental information. And then we're going to get started. So give me just 1 second, guys. I'm going to switch gears. It's a little yellow Service Plus box is what it is. I should stretch my, thank you. Thank you for submitting it. Ooh. Okay. If you guys need to get water or anything, totally do it. Okay. We're switching gears. Stretch break. Hey, Sean. That was all the stretching I did. That was it. All right. So we are in day 1. Can you guys type day 1 in the comments? Day 1. We are in day 1 of hearing God through the noise. I love this challenge. That's why I do it every week. And I love that you guys are staying with me. We are in day 1. Music still okay? I love that some of you guys are staying on again, even though you did this last week. Love it. All right, so day 1. Who's new here? Who is doing this for the first time? You're like, what is this even? You'll see. You'll see. Who is new to this one? Because I love it. I love it. I do this every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday after the studies. Now, for those of you guys that have done this, who's in the room with me? Who's done this before? Who's done day 1 at least? Who's got at least as far as day 1? You're new, but you're at work. That's fine. Thank you. For those of you that this is your first time seeing me, I promise you not all my lives are this like disheveled. They don't normally go like that, but that's fine. We have days like that, and that's okay. Okay, so welcome to day 1 of hearing God through the noise. This is 3 days of us diving deep into our mind almost. Okay, what we are doing as we step into assignment, a lot of times what happens is the noise starts to come in, right? The interference patterns is what I call them. They're to throw us off. Today, distraction was mine, right? You'll see that. I give you 5 interference patterns and you're going to name them. The reason that we do this is because scripture teaches us that we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with powers and principalities and rulers in the unseen realm, right? Those forces do not just work through chaos and evil. They work through patterns of interference. You guys saw it in real time today. Maybe it wasn't of him. Maybe it wasn't of the enemy. I don't know. Paul calls them strongholds. Okay, there are arguments and imaginations that exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. So in other words, they're not monsters, they're mechanisms. Hell doesn't need honor in order to win. Okay, it needs agreement. And so for those of us that have been called to build something, to create something, to steward something, God has given us each a purpose on our lives. Okay? The tension that we face as we step into that rarely comes from ignorance or lack of desire. That tension that we feel when we're getting a lot of noise, when we move towards what God has placed in front of us in our lives, today we're going to be naming the interference so that it stops hiding inside of our decisions. Okay? So theologically, what we're experiencing when we move towards our calling, a lot of times you'll hear other coaches say, well, that's like a manifestation block, or that's a mindset issue. It's kingdom collision, okay, for us of faith. So when we step towards our obedience, hell doesn't send thunder. It sends interference. Okay, interference is this subtle form of warfare that actually works on high capacity individuals like us, right? Those that are stepping more into our calling. You feel that. How many of you are like, I am stepping into my calling. I am in my calling. I feel like God is calling me into assignment. Like you can just feel it. That should be every single one of you guys. Every single one of you. Interference has this way of showing up that is very subtle, so it's easy to miss, okay? It sounds like distraction. It sounds like accusation. It sounds like delay. It sounds like discouragement, intimidation, distortion, counterfeit opportunity, busyness, isolation, over-responsibility, false burden, right? I want you to notice something about all of those. None of them require your permission. They just need you to go into agreement in it, okay? The thing about Satan is that he rarely uses possession, okay? I'm going to show you this in scripture. So in Genesis 3, we saw that he used permission, right? He used permission on Eve. In Matthew 4, he used pressure. In Nehemiah, he used delay. In Revelation 12, he used accusation. And in John 8, he used distortion. Okay, so when you move forward in your obedience, the enemy doesn't need to destroy your calling. He needs to create enough interference that you delay it so long that it just goes away, that it never happens. That is a normal experience for us as followers. Okay, there's going to be 2 layers to what we're doing today. There's 2 layers to them, and you need both of them. Okay, one is the neuroscience side, because our brain has one job, and it's not obedience. It's survival. And our nervous system is running a threat detection system that's designed to keep us alive. And our brains cannot tell the difference between a lion and a launch. Okay, that's the best analogy I could use. It's like, whoa, those are both really scary. So when you move towards your calling, towards visibility, towards responsibility, towards something that requires you to be seen in a way that's like, I could possibly get this wrong, our brain reads that thing as danger. It doesn't do it metaphorically. It's like, that is actual danger. That's scary. That part of our brain is called the amygdala. And so it processes fear, and it fires before the part of our brain that becomes responsible for reason and decision even has a chance to respond. So it means that the resistance that we often feel, that we feel when we sit down to record a piece of content, when we go to send an email, when we almost post something, when we close that gap, a lion and a launch. Okay, that's not a character issue. That's our biology doing what it's supposed to do, right? It's our biology firing before theology can catch up. Okay, so practically what it means for us is this, okay? Those feelings that show up when we move towards obedience, they freeze, they start second guessing. That feeling of like, okay, I suddenly need to handle the 17 other things that are on my plate, so I got to do those first. Those aren't things that you've heard from God, okay? Those aren't signs that you heard him wrong. Those are signs that your brain is doing exactly what it was supposed to do, what it was built to do, okay? It's going to keep you where it's safe. It's going to keep you where it's comfortable. It's going to keep you where you're known. It's going to keep you where no one can watch you if you get it wrong, okay? Yeah, get out of your feelings and into the word, exactly. The problem is that calling requires the opposite of that. Okay? So I want to go into the spiritual reality of all of this. And then I think that you can potentially understand why it's so hard. Okay? Obedience expands the kingdom. Okay? It expands kingdom territory. So the enemy doesn't need to destroy your calling. He needs to introduce interference at the exact moments that our nervous system is primed to pull back. So he can see that, right? He sees it just with Eve, right? He catches her when she's most vulnerable. And then he places doubt in her mind, right? And he does it so subtly. So he catches you at the exact moment where our nervous system is like, I don't know. Something's a threat. I'm scared to step into something. And then he lets the biology do the rest, right? He places whatever your interference pattern is that we're going to name, and he just lets it go. Because we're doing the rest of it, truly. We're doing the rest of it by continuing it. That is not coincidence, it's a strategy. Okay? Delay is principality's favorite tool. Strongholds operate through agreements. Powers operate through pressure. Okay, principalities operate through delay. Yeah, surely God did not tell you to eat. Scripture names this pattern. Every time someone steps into assignment, interference shows up, okay? Eve gets the confusion. The serpent didn't deny God's words. He questioned them. He said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden, right? That's in Genesis 3:1. Surely God didn't tell you not to eat. One question was just enough to open up the door. Okay, then we see Moses, he gets intimidated, right? He gets intimidation. God gives him this very clear assignment, and his first response is, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? We see that in Exodus chapter 3, verse 11. Then he says later, O Lord, I'm not eloquent, but I am slow to speech and slow of tongue, right? He's called and he's commissioned, but he's arguing with God. He gets intimidated, right? Then we see Nehemiah, he gets distracted. He's literally in the middle of building a wall, and his enemies keep calling him down. And his answer it's the same every single time. He says, I'm doing a great work, so I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I am building it and leave to go to you, right? They sent that same invitation 4 times, and then he sent the same answer back 4 times. Paul gets accusation. So they hired a lawyer before the governor and opened it. Well, we should have found this man a plague, a creator of dissension among all the Jews throughout the world. That's in Acts 24:5. It was in his ministry. He was accused publicly in front of power. Then we see Jesus, right? He gets tested right after his baptism, right before his ministry begins. He's led by the Spirit into the wilderness, and then the tempter shows up immediately, and he says, if you are the Son of God, right? We see that in Matthew 4. The attack was on his identity before the work even started. God gives clarity. Interference introduces noise. And if it happened to every single one of those individuals, it's going to happen to you. Okay? That doesn't mean that you're weak or unspiritual or inconsistent. You're being targeted. Okay? And you can't fight what you can't see. You're being opposed. And the enemy does not waste opposition on people who are not a threat. Okay? So, I needed to give you that introduction so you understood why we are doing what we're doing and why it's so necessary. Okay? Today I'm going to show you 5 interference patterns that show up when we start to step into our calling. Okay? For each one, I want you to participate with us. Okay? I love seeing this come through. This is like my favor from you guys. Not for me. I just love seeing how God is going to work through it. Okay? So for each one, you're going to tell me how it shows up for you, but you're not going to overthink it, okay? You're just going to tag it in the chat. You're going to put it in the comments. It's just one word. Okay? There's three ways that it pops up for you. It's going to show up for you as your primary. So when you step into something, that's the first thing you hear. That's what you consistently hear. Then when that doesn't work, a secondary comes in. That one hits after the first one. And then there's a background one that maybe you hear sometimes, but it barely hits at all, okay? I want you to pay attention to your primary, and I'm going to put that in the chat. I want you to pay attention to your primary. That's the most important one right now. That you're too old? Yeah. Okay. Why are we doing this? Because nobody asked. Should have reframed that. So if you're wondering why we're doing this, it's because interference has a sequence. And when you know that sequence, you can counter it. Okay? So here's the first one. I'm going to give you all 5, and I'm going to give you examples. And you're just going to tell me, is this my primary? Is this a secondary one for me? Or is this a background one for me? So all of you should have some response to this, okay? I feel like my neck. So give me just a second. I sit my mic is so far, so I have to sit up the whole time. So you'll see me shifting a little bit. Anyway, so the first pattern is accusation, okay? This one attacks your legitimacy or your identity, and it makes you question who you are and whether you're somebody that God could trust with a real assignment, with real work. It is subtle and it is personal. These accusations sound like, who do you think you are? You're not actually qualified. Or if God trusted you with this, He would have made you better at it. Or I should have figured this out by now. Or if you were really called, you'd be further along by now. I guarantee you most of you don't say this out loud. This is the kind of stuff that you probably don't even tell your best friend. It's the kind of stuff that you argue with in the shower. You're like, I'm not. God is calling me into this. I don't even know who I think I am. Me? Like me start a podcast? Me post the content? I'm not. I don't know. God, I don't think God called me to this. I need more knowledge, right? Is that your primary? Is it like, oh, sometimes that shows up, that's your secondary? Or like every now and again it shows up, but I still move through it. I want to hear the thoughts too, if you guys don't mind putting that in. What do you think? You know what mine is? As before I stepped into what I'm doing when I began coaching women with Eden and Empire, I felt like they're going to see me and think that I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, who am I? I don't have XYZ. I'm not qualified enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. They're going to see right through me. But I did it anyway, right? And I pray that you guys do it anyway. Okay. The second one is confusion. And so that one shows up in the form of the fact that the enemy attacks discernment and decision. Okay. It makes you question what God had already made clear. Okay, confusion sounds like, well, maybe I misheard God. Maybe this wasn't my idea. What if the timing's wrong and I'm forcing it? I'm going to tell you guys, I wrote these down because they were my exact thoughts. Okay, should I wait for more clarity? Maybe I need another confirmation. What if this wasn't him? What if I move and it's wrong? Maybe I should wait for another sign. I want you to see something about confusion. It rarely gives you answers. It just delays your obedience. It's doing nothing for you. It's just delaying it so that you spin around long enough that it just doesn't happen. Is that your primary, your secondary, or your background? And I'm curious, what is the thought that rings loudest for you? Mine is usually, I still struggle with it. Maybe I misheard God. Maybe this wasn't my idea. Oh, sorry. I said that wrong. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Maybe I misheard God. This was just my idea. Okay? Like maybe this is just a thought that I had in my head and it wasn't even God. That's usually mine. All right. My thought or God's. Yep. Like, I don't want to mess it up. This is for God, right? All right, so the third one is intimidation. This one attacks your agency. And it makes you want to retreat. It makes you want to hide. It makes you want to ask for permission. Intimidation sounds like, if I say it wrong, it's going to damage my credibility. Or what if I disappoint God? What are they going to think? What if people talk? I'll just keep waiting until I'm more ready. What if I put this out and it doesn't work? I'm going to have to explain why. I said yes, but I actually haven't started. Like it makes you just want to hide because it's just easier. Intimidation doesn't need you to stop. It just needs you not to start. How many of you that is your primary? Oh, I needed to tell you guys too that you will probably have more than one primary that you initially think. There's usually just one primary. But a lot of us see ourselves in so many of these things. You can get the replays. You can get the replays. Okay? The three that we've gone over are accusation, confusion, and now we're on intimidation. So some of you, if you haven't and you're on this live right now and you are participating with us, if you go to the little yellow bubble with an arrow at the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side, there is a form that says Hearing God Through the Noise. It's a 3-day challenge. I'm praying that it will show up for you and not give you an error. If it does, then go to the link in my bio. Oh, you'll just have to message me Or you can try popping out of this live and popping back in. That worked for some people. I don't know why it's giving so many issues today. But if all else fails, just message me. Okay? I might take a second to get back to you if there's a lot of you, because sometimes there is. But I will get it to you. You just have to send me your email. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad it worked for you because it wasn't working earlier. They all work for you? Okay, so that's why I'm going to still keep plugging it, because it's working for some of you and then it's not for others. All right, so the fourth one is comparison. Okay, this one attacks signal. It gets you looking sideways instead of just at where God is calling you to. Oh my goodness, you guys, you see what I mean? This has been the story of my life since yesterday. Things just keep spinning around in a circle and then they just start working for no reason. Like, how annoying is that? I'm glad that it's working. Okay, I'm glad that it's working though. Like literally every technology thing came against me today. Yeah. All right, so it is one of the things in 4. This is one of the attack signals, okay? It keeps you looking sideways. Comparison sounds like, well, she already did better. Everyone else is ahead of me. I'm late. There's no room for me right now. I saw one of you put in there, I'm too old. She has a better background than me. I can't do a live. She has more followers than me. Nobody's going to show up. She's better at talking than I am. I can't do that. Comparison isn't about envy. It's about disqualification. Okay? I'm going to tell you that. Nobody. If God has put something on your heart, there's no one can touch what he placed on your heart. No one. The gift that he gave you, he gave it specifically to you for a very specific reason, because you were going to affect people in a way that that other person could never. Could never. There is nothing about you that makes you less than anybody else. This one to me is one where I just want to give you guys a hug. I get a little emotional about it because I wish you could see what God sees in you. The beauty that God, and I say this all the time because I think you guys need to hear it all the time. You guys should just have daily reminders. The creator of the universe saw that the world needed one of you. So why would you ever question that you're not good enough? Right? I don't know. Today I'm just an emotional mess. But it pains me to see that so many of you have that comparison when it shouldn't be there. I am crying, and you're probably crying. Okay? All right. It's not about envy. So when you look at somebody and you're not looking straight, like I want you guys to hold on to this. When you start looking sideways, you're looking at everybody, but Jesus is literally just like right there. It's like a parent, right? Like he is a father, right? But for those of us that have kids, like it's like I wish, like we see something in them that nobody else could see. I needed that reminder continually. I actually have a tattoo on my leg, like on the side of my leg. I don't even know what it's called, what the part of my leg is called. And in Greek, it says, I am enough as I am. Can you guys put that in the comments? I am enough as I am. I'm not going to make you put it in Greek. In the English, I am enough as I am. So you can carry that through the day. When you are feeling like, I don't measure up, I'm not qualified enough, God sees you and you are enough as you are. Right? Remember that. You're not late. You are not old. There is room for you. God is creating space in rooms that were designed specifically for you, that could hold exactly. Some of us are stepping into rooms that people were just waiting for you. You are that person for them. I can say that with every fiber of my being, that I know that for a fact. Okay? I'm going to move on because I'll stay in this one all day. Okay? So the fifth one is distraction. I always get distracted, okay? I get the job done, but I get distracted sometimes. I just go where the Holy Spirit tells me to. I could stay on this live for 4 hours telling you that you are good enough if the Holy Spirit feels like you need to hear it. So it's probably not distraction. I just stay where I need to. I mean, I do get distracted, so I'm not going to lie and say I never do. Distraction attacks assignment. It doesn't discourage you, it just delays you. Distraction sounds like, well, maybe after things calm down. It's not a no, it's just not now. Okay, let me fix my health, let me fix my home, let me fix my income, my marriage, my business, my finances. Once life settles down, I'll have capacity. Once my kids are older. Once I have more knowledge. Okay, distraction doesn't need your refusal. It just needs your delay. And then it says later until it becomes never. Okay, don't let it become never. Is that your primary, your secondary, or your background? And if you feel comfortable enough, you can also put what you hear. Let me do this, but God comes first and He'll find a way. He will always. One of the counters we have is calling first, confidence later, right? All right. So I want you to look at your primary. That is, I'm going to put this into terms of like putting on our armor, right? That's your main battlefield. That is the thing that you are fighting against the most, is your primary. I want you to look at that and pay attention to that over the next 40 or 24 hours, okay? Then I want you to look at your secondary tag. That's the one that hits you after the first one fails. After you look it in the eye and say, I'm distracted, but I'm going to do it anyway, then a second thing pops up. Okay? You're not imagining the resistance. You're not lazy, you're not inconsistent, you're under interference. Strongholds do not need to stop you, they just need to stall you. Okay, so for the next 24 hours, your assignment is going to be really simple. You're going to spot your primary in the wild, in your day, right? As you are going about your day, especially when you start to do the thing. Okay? Not an introspective, but what you're actually obeying God in, what you're planning, what you're deciding, what you're building, what you're mothering or fathering, what you're stewarding or creating. I love that, Tammy. We're not ready to fix it. So don't go here in the 24 hours thinking like, I hear this, but now what? That's what these next 2 days are going to be for. I'm emailing you additional examples, including the ones that some of you may not have admitted out loud, okay, so that you can identify yours faster. Some of us are like, well, maybe it's this, but maybe it's that one. Those examples are there to help you, okay? So if you didn't register for those emails yet, go to that little yellow box, whatever it's called. I'm tired of guessing what to call it. The little yellow button at the bottom with the arrow on it, the Service Plus option. You see it, the icon up there, that icon, but down there at the bottom left. Okay, if you didn't register for it, I'm going to give you time. Tomorrow, I'm going to email you before we go live with this again, just this specific part. You're going to get a reminder just in case you can't stay on for the full Bible study, because sometimes it's a lot. I get that. Maybe you're like, I just want to stay on for the second day. I'm going to send you a reminder, and I'm going to send you replays if you miss it or if you joined late. Tomorrow, we're going to learn how to counter the interference so our calling stops feeling like self-doubt. The fifth one The fifth one is distraction. So that one, it sounds like, well, maybe after things calm down, or it's not a no, it's just not right now. Or let me fix this. Let me fix my health, my finances, my business, my marriage. When life settles down, I'm going to have the capacity to whatever God is calling me to. Okay, so if you didn't register for it, click on that now, and I'm going to wait for a second. If it's not working for you guys for whatever reason, just message me. I will get it to you. It's going to take me a minute, but I'm going to get it to you. I encourage you guys, if you can be on a live tomorrow will be the day. Okay? If you can show up for the live tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to counter it, because it's one thing to understand it, right? To be aware of it, but I'm going to give you tools to smack it away. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. 10 to 4. What's 10 to 4? Oh. I'm confused. Oh, I love that. I love as they come in. I'm just going to give you guys a few minutes to make sure you get that. And then I'm going to go. 10-4. Oh. Duh. Thank you, William. You'll notice a lot of things kind of go over my head. All right, you guys. You still have time. What was it for? What was what for? What time tomorrow for what? The Bible study portion or the day 2? The Bible study is 9 a.m. Central. The day 2 starts around 10:30. 10:30 Central. What time zone are you guys in? And I'll tell you what time it would be for you. How do you get the replay from today? The replay is if you click on that little yellow box at the bottom of my screen or your screen. It is, if you click on it, it says like day 1 of hearing God through the noise. If you fill out that form, I'm going to email it to you. So if you are Pacific time, I go live on the Bible study at 9. If you're Pacific time, that's 7 a.m. your time. If you're Eastern, that's 10 a.m. your time. If you're Mountain time, that's 8 a.m. your time. That's for the live, like the Bible study. If you are wanting to just do just the day 2 of this challenge, that would be 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 9:30 a.m. Mountain time, 10:30 Central, and then 11:30 Eastern. Okay? Hope I didn't miss any. Just come tomorrow. Come when you can, okay? The replays are available for you guys. Make sure that you click on that little yellow box at the bottom, and if you don't get it, if at any point you don't get any of these emails, like you go through within the next 2 hours and you're like, hey, Vanessa, I still haven't gotten it, message me, please. Sometimes my automations like to work against me. A lot of you guys that did the challenge the first time, you didn't get it because my automation didn't pull you guys through. There was about 70 of you that were just sitting waiting. And I'm like, what the heck? Why didn't you push them through? Okay. If I'm not, send the army. Yes. You can't fill out the form. There isn't anything there. Can you send me a message and I'll get it to you? Just send me, there should be a DM option. Can you just send me your email and say day 1 so that I know what to email you? Sometimes you guys message me and I don't know what. Okay. Yeah, it's making me work instead of being automated. Yes, and I need it to work. Like, literally. I don't take time to set you up and then you don't do your job. It's annoying. Thank you guys for being here. I'm just giving you guys a minute. I know some of you are still trying to get it navigated and it's frustrating that it's today. That just means we're going to put on our armor, and I'm not going to be distracted today, and I'm going to walk in obedience. And I'm going to say, not today, Satan. Just kidding. I'm not going to give him credit. I'm not going to give him credit. We're going to keep on going. Because no enemy or no weapons formed against me shall prosper. And you know what? Maybe the delay is protection. Maybe I had to go through some tech issues because it delayed our lives just long enough so you guys could show up. Right? Maybe God was saying, you know what? I need that person in the room at this exact time. I think you and I were trying to mute the same person, Erica, at the same time. I was like, why isn't it working? Yeah. You know what? We'll go with that. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. That's what I'll say. I'm not going to give you any credit, enemy. You guys, tomorrow I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm not, but I am. I'm excited and nervous. Can you guys pray for me? Can you pray that that nothing will keep those that are meant to be on this live away from missing it? And can you guys give me discernment? Can you give me discernment about tomorrow? It's not a more important. Every life is just equally as important. But I think that God is making a way, and just discernment every day. Every day. But as we navigate some of these things, can you just pray that God gives me clarity on how to fix some of these tech issues so that tomorrow his word can reach the ones that it's meant to? So I'm going to go and stretch. I usually lie down after my lives. And I work in bed a lot of times because my neck, I'm just tired of sitting in the same position. Yes, and if you guys, can I ask you a favor? If you hop on tomorrow's live, can you just go crazy in the chat? I'm just kidding. Yeah, tomorrow we will have no solicitors in this chat. I wish that was a thing. You know what? That just boosts the algorithm, and then we just block them. We get what we need from them, and we block them. So, all right, you guys. Remember what I told you. You are enough as you are, and I'm going to see you tomorrow.